I so love this retirement strategy so much I had to do a video on it with the PVC pipe of knowledge. The PVC pipe of knowledge. Hear he. Come one, come all. The PVC pipe of knowledge is out and we're having a ball. All right, so working with these people today. I worked with them before, legends. They left the state of California. They moved someplace else. And this guy came up with a strategy that I freaking think is fantastic, which we're going to go into. Anyway, so this guy, and I told his wife, I said, wife, you are voluntarily retired. You do not need to keep working. She goes, man, I thought I was going to work another 2 years. I never really thought about it. She goes, I thought about quitting, but never really thought about it in terms of reality. I said, no, dude, you guys can be fine. I said, look, again, if you can survive my numbers, you're good to go. I'm just telling you, that's all there's to it. No, look, I'm not God. I don't know the future, but you know, she's like, oh, okay, we'll see what happens. And then I went to do like this. They call me who's the guy who hit that home run? Will Smith. But he's a righty, wasn't he? Yeah, I'm a righty too, actually. I should have been a lefty. Should have been a contender. All right, so this guy, they need about $100,000 a year to pull from their portfolio until Social Security kicks in. And we're debating whether or not we should take Social Security at 62, 67, or 70. And as generally speaking, we're going to have the wife take Social Security early, husband take his full retirement age, maybe 70, but probably not. Probably full retirement age is 67. Again, the reason we want to do that is just because if the wife dies early, husband gets nothing. That's all there is to it. Husband loses the wife's benefit. I mean, there could be a little bit of survivor benefits there depending on when she dies and how old he is. But generally speaking, we're not going to have the wife die before the husband's 70 years old. So if the wife dies early at 75, 76, husband doesn't get anything. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a fact. All right. So if the wife survives, but the husband dies, the same thing happens. The wife's benefit is lost and she gets the husband's benefit. Yes, we got to put the asterisk on there. She gets her own benefit plus a kicker for what the husband had. At the end of the day, the equivalent of her benefit is gone. So generally speaking, we want the lower earner to take it early. All right. That's just fact. And then the higher earner to take it later. That's what we're going to do with me, my wife, Charlotte and I. So before that, though, they need about $100,000 a year of spending, all right? And for basically the next 5 years or so. They got $1.587 million in an IRA, $340, and that's in a 70-30 portfolio, 70-30. And Linda, Miss Linda, if you're out there, I did receive your thing, so much obliged, ma'am. Legend. Linda sends me things like this on occasion. One time she sent me something to eat, and I don't think I opened it up in time or something like that, but I forgot what it was. We got legends all over the place, dude. I love them. So Miss Linda, much obliged. All right, so he's got $1.587 million in a 70-30 portfolio inside his IRA. He's got $340,000 in T-bills in another IRA, just a different account, but still an IRA. These are all IRAs, all right? And he's got $150 in VTI in a third IRA. So basically he's got 3 accounts because he's going to work the barbell essentially. So he's going to work the barbell. He needs 5 years of cash basically. He's got 5 years cash right here, all right? So he's working the barbell. If this goes up first year, he takes it from here, drops $100,000 out. If this goes down the first year, he takes it from here, drops $100,000 out. All right, everybody makes sense? Of course that does, because I'm explaining it, so it makes sense. So that's the barbell. Now, obviously, if the market goes up, he would run quite low on VTI because he only has $150,000 in there. But you get the gist. So his question was this right here, and I so love this strategy. He was Josh, Sensei, because I do karate. He said, Sensei, should I take that $87,000 and dump it into there? I said, dude, that's a great strategy. That's a great strategy. So what will happen is at that stage, if you did that like today, what would that be? Instead of $340, that'd be basically $430,000 instead of $340. Great. Now you could even dump it down here if you want. I don't care. But either way, we're going to need this money to spend until he's on Social Security, and he and his wife. I said, that's a great strategy. So now he's got 1.5 million. I always wonder, is it 2 M's or 1 M? I can never remember. I think it's 1, but maybe 2. And his goal now is anytime, and we talked about this. We said anytime this gets to 1.6, take that $100,000 and move it over here. Lock that sucker in. Lock that sucker in. Now, if it goes below 1.5, you don't do anything. You don't do anything. That's such a great strategy. And we know we have a 1.5 million is our baseline to judge. So you wake up and you don't have to like rebalance. You don't have to do anything. You just look at your portfolio. I started with 1.5 million. Now it's worth more or less. If it's worth more, that's great. Is it worth $100,000 more? Then I'm going to take, look, it doesn't have to be exactly $100,000, but you know, $87,000 here, not a big deal, but it's such a good strategy. Now you'd make an argument, well, Josh, but that 87,000 is no longer getting the benefit of compounding growth. We don't need compounding growth anymore. We don't. I mean, we need it. We still have compounding growth at 1.5, but we need to start taking gains. Anyway, so it just gives you a nice baseline. I say 1.5 is what I start with. If I'm down 40, oh boy, I'm not gonna be able to figure that out. If I'm down 25%, that'd be, if I'm down 50%, that'd be 75, I'd have $750,000. Okay, that's what it'd be. So if I'm down 25%, I'd have what, 1 million? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what it'd be. So if this is down 50%, I'd have $75,000. If I'm down 25%, it'll be 1.15 or something like that. I don't know. I'm not gonna figure it out. But you get it. So you know, hey, 1.5 is my baseline. If it goes up to 1.9, I take $300,000 off. But I should have taken some of that money off before to go back to my baseline. Now, what happened, and this is what I was telling him, the reason I love this strategy, and I told him, you don't need to do that. You're not running out of money, dude. It's not happening. But I told him, but I said, we remember, because he's a little bit older than me, he and his wife, not much older, just a couple of years. But I said, the problem is when people don't take gains off the table, and this is the reason why you want to be hanging out with your old buddy Josh, because I'm old. I've been doing this since 1998, my friends. Is that back in the late 90s, we had S&P 500 got 30+% a year for like 5 straight years. 30 plus, from 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. And so we were, you know, basically at 100 and it went to, I don't know, freaking 300, whatever it was. I don't know what it is. And a lot of people had individual stocks. Remember AOL, remember Enron and things of this nature. I mean, Enron didn't crash in the bubble, but still, you get a pet stock, I get all that. But, you know, there were some legit companies. Intel, did that crash and burn? Oracle, Cisco, Sun Systems. Remember Sun Microsystems? I remember that guy, the CEO. I remember that guy. I see his face right in front of me. Can't remember his name though. But anyway, so what happened was, because we weren't taking gains, 150, 250, whatnot, this came to 300. And if you're about to retire, you're like, dude, I've been getting 30% a year on my money. I'm gonna keep running it because then I'll have a 1.2 million at some point, whatever. Yeah, actually, look, that's perfect. That's a log. 1 to 300 is 300%. 3 to 6 to 12. Yeah, that's exactly right. Look at that. 1 to 3 is the same as 3 to 1.2. Isn't it? 1 to 3 is 300%. 3 to 1.2 is 300% as well. Yeah, 300% increase. Anyway, be as it may. I'm going to wait till it goes to 1.2. I'm just living, making money. The problem is some of the stocks went to freaking zero. So you're a multi-millionaire in 1999. In 2003, you were freaking living in a van down by the river with Chris Farley. And I got no sympathy. I mean, I actually have. I do have, or empathy, whatever it is. But you had these gains. You had them. And you thought the party would last. The problem that I have where we are today, that's why I said, yeah, go ahead and knock that out. It's because we've had, 4 of the last 5 years, we've had 20% odd, I think it was 2020, 2021, 2023, 24, and so far this year we're almost there. 4 of the last 5 years, we've had 25%, 20 plus growth. And I'm going to do another video later. I don't think that we're in a bubble at all, and I'll share with you why. But that's just not, that's not, you're not going to get 25% growth 4 or 5 years. You're just not. It's just not going to happen. Even if there's, the market foundations are still pretty good and whatnot. It's just not going to happen. So we're not at bubble territory like we were there, was based on no earnings and whatnot. But I'm like, man, just knock that sucker out, because how many people, and I saw it with my own eyes, I had well, that was before I actually had clients, but I was working the call center for Vanguard and then Charles Schwab. I had people, they had millions of dollars that just, I still hear people all the time like, man, I was worth 7 figures and I didn't sell. I just watched it evaporate. Now these are individual stocks. I mean, the S&P 500 itself didn't go from 1 to 3 to 0, but it was down 9% in 2000. 11% in 2001, 22% in 2002, and then it started the first quarter like I want to say 10 to 50% of Q1 2003. Oh look, I can't get behind me. I was doing these things yesterday. Oh man, I'm sore. I'm at 187. I got to get down to 177, my fighting weight, so my wife and I can box because I'm her sensei. Anyway, that's not good. Now, the likelihood of that happening isn't very high, but it did happen in my own career. And people always look back at 2008, 7, 8, 9. I was like, no, 2007, 8, 9 wasn't nearly as disastrous as 1990 or 2000, 2001, or 2. Because from 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, we didn't have a huge growth. We didn't. I think 2005, the market was basically up 5%. In 2006, maybe 11 or something like that. Not that much of growth. This is where people were multi-millionaires and just watching their portfolio just go to 0 because they didn't get out in time. And that's why I just love this strategy. Put yourself a baseline, 1.5, and say, I'm going to take anything above that, I'm taking off. And again, I wouldn't, like if it's up, $5, I'm not doing it. 6 figures seems to be a nice round number because that's a big portfolio. But let's just say you only have $150,000. Obviously, you don't want to do 6 figures because you're probably never going to get there. Oh, you do whatever you want. Every $25,000 of growth, you take that off the table and lock it in. Anyway, great strategy. My man up there, he knows where he's at. He and his wifey, just kicking ass and taking names, man. You know why? Because Americans kick ass and take names. America first. Not other countries first. America first. God bless. We'll see you.